As winter makes her way across the Midwest, the fine folks of Eagle River ready themselves for one of their busiest weekends of the winter. For over 50 years, snowmobile enthusiasts from across the globe have descended into this little town in northern Wisconsin for an event like no other. Welcome to Eagle River, the snowmobile capital of the world.
This is Dollar Lake. This is where it all started, snowmobile racing in 1964. Well, the idea really came from my parents and Walt Goldsworthy. They were sitting back at our lodge, and we had a snowmobile then, and my dad thought, there must be other people with these things, so let's get together and have a family fun day. But what he didn't know is so many people would come. So it just overwhelmed him the first year, and then the second year was even more overwhelming, and that's when it moved to the current location, the Derby track.
Welcome to Eagle River, Wisconsin, where the snowmobiles outnumber the automobile. On this weekend, the town of 1,200 will grow to 40,000. Then, at noon, they gather around a half-mile oval track to witness one of the major motor racing events in this country. 15 years ago, when it started, they called it the World's Championship Snowmobile Race. They still do, because it's still it.
We're particularly proud to have the World Championship Derby right here in the state of Wisconsin. Last year I was here for the 50th. It's now nice to have it for the 51st. We know we're going to have a great time. We hope you give a great time this weekend and throughout the week. A lot of great snow throughout the winter. We've had it for the last month or so. We hope you enjoy the trails and the snowmobiling.
Well, Eagle River, as you know, is a big sign when you come in town. It says snowmobile capital of the world. You have a population here of probably around 1,500, 1,400 people. And when it comes snowmobile season, there's probably 30, 40, 50,000 people that come into this area. We don't start moving around until it gets, down to zero.
First year I was here, I was blown away. The Friday night is amazing, and then the whole entire weekend, and again, the people, the crowd, the fans, you see the same fans out there. I look forward to seeing them every year. They're incredible. I watch them out there the whole entire weekend as much as I'm watching the sport. It's great.
The fans are amazing. That's what makes the Derby. The fans are amazing. I mean, they're just fun, and they're nice, good people, and they come up here to have a good time. And I don't know, I've never seen a group of people from different areas get along as well as it seems like everybody in Eagle River and everybody that comes to Eagle River.
You've got every sponsor from every manufacturer across the country and the world that are here. And on top of all of that, it brings the spectators as well, and so that they're participating and going on the trails and the restaurants, and it's a good thing for everybody.
When you drive down the streets of this town and you see signs that are snowmobile this, snowmobile that, and lots of different dealers and trails that ride right through town, people riding on those trails, it's just a great experience. It makes you actually want to get out there and ride and be with them. Watching the races, it just gets your adrenaline going. Hearing the sound of those snowmobiles racing along, it's a whole lot different when you hear trail riding snowmobiles. But when they're racing like that, it's just amazing, and to watch how fast they're going. And I think just the experience of being here.
When I heard about Eagle River, I was only a kid. So when I started racing, I had to go to Eagle River. It's the World Championship.
For me, it's almost like the Daytona 500 of snowmobile races. Me, it's one of the funnest events of the year. You know, I got my first win here back when I was 13 years old, so it's always fun to come back and get to race this event. I really love it here.
Eagle River is the World Championship, and you know, the best of the best usually come, and so it turns into a heck of a race.
Yeah, the goal is definitely to win. You know, that's what we're here for, and that's always the dream. You know, that's why we work the other days and do the workouts and the training in the summertime is to win today's race.
Well, it's quite the track.
Oval racing here, you know, we have a few broken bones over the years with crashes and stuff. So, but this is what we do. So.
The 51st Annual Amsoil Eagle River Derby is brought to you by Amsoil, by First Place Parts, and by Fly Racing. As the fans of Eagle River settle in for a full day of racing, they prepare to watch one of the most exciting and unpredictable classes that will race here today on the ice oval track.
This is Outlaw 600 class. This is for basically people who like to go fast and have to go to work on Monday.
Kind of like a go-kart, and it likes to drift out. It doesn't have the bite like a champ sled because they don't let you have steel picks. They're made to spin out is what they're made to do, so you don't flip over and get hurt, you know.
I went from racing vintage sleds to this. It's an experience that I've never felt before, and I enjoy racing. I just I didn't enjoy getting hurt, so that was my biggest thing.
When I first started racing my Outlaw, my biggest problem was not to hold it wide open all the time.
Yeah, you pretty much feel invincible in it. You can just drive it right into the corner at 90 miles an hour and flick that wheel, and you know, if it gets that way and you go into the bales, it's no big deal, you know.
It is a very aggressive class. The racing is generally tight, the corners are short, and when you put a bunch of sleds in one corner, it gets pretty aggressive.
You know, you put 8 of them out there on the track and they're pretty big and everybody wants to go to the front, so, you know, you will get some live entertainment, I guess I'd call it.
They're going to set the pace on the field. We'll tighten them up down to turn number 3 and 4. Watch for the green flag to fly as they make the entrance onto the front straightaway. And just like that, we're underway.
So number 1 grabbing the start, Schneider. That 65 of Spokley trying to sneak in. Dolzell, the number 1, gets loose, coming out of 2.
Hodgson, though, the man on the move on the attack down the inside, the number 1 sled. That's Schneider working to the outside. Here comes Hodgson. He's got something for him. He'll jack it, crack it. Out of turn number 4. Around in front of the field. Hang on to your hats, race fans. That was a high pucker factor right there for the number 1 of Schneider. Schneider able to continue on, but he goes from first to almost last in one little fell swoop. And that is Schneider as he continues to wrestle with that sled down at turn number 1 and 2. Something awry on it, there's no doubt about it. Something very much not awry for the number 32 sled. That's Tim Hibbert. Hibbert setting the pace on the field as he'll hustle his way down into turn number 1 and 2. Down the back straightaway, and he is going to be tough to beat. Look at him driving away from the 66 of Dolzel.
Dolzell, the 99 also in there. Hodgson still in 3rd. Trying to get back into the mix. He has a little trouble coming out of 3 and 4.
Well, the 99 sled, a little squirrely for him. There's Hodgson fighting the wheel on that bad boy. Trying to get back up into the mix. It's not going to happen, though. I can tell you this right now. The pace being set up front by the number 32 sled of Hibbert is a blistering one as he's just ripping around this racetrack, putting the laps by the wayside. This time coming out, here's the white flag, final time around.
The 32 Hibbert out of Leominster, New Hampshire. He's in control right now. There comes the 99 Peterson in 3rd. Also that 65 Trevor Spokley.
Here comes your race leader out, turn number 4, checkered flag flies. Give the nod to the 32, Tim Hibbert. The Leominster, New Hampshire runner is going to pick up the championship in the Outlaw 600 category.
How was the race different today than it was on Friday?
Well, the more you work on it, the better you make it drive, and it's all about making it handle to get it around here smoothly.
Anybody you want to thank today?
Yeah, I'd like to thank John Hooper for this class, and I also like to thank my brother Aaron Hibbert and Jeff Colby for sticking with me, because I was on a hell of a trip to come here.
All right, all the way from New Hampshire, Tim Hibbard. Give him a hand.
Competition can be found at any age here in Eagle River, and that couldn't be more true than for the high-flying racers of snowcross.
Snowcross is, if you've seen motocross, it's jumps and rhythm sections and bumps and high-flying air on a snowmobile.
I think watching ice oval, they're all about speed, and that's kind of the same about snowcross, but you add jumps into it.
It's basically like high flying action, and it's like motocross on snow, really, is the best way to describe it.
You know, on the snowcross track, we're doing 40, 50, even 60 miles an hour sometimes. You know, flying 40, 50 feet in the air, and sometimes 90, 100 feet far. So, you know, it's pretty big air and pretty big jumps, and it's quite the thrill.
It's a pretty big deal. It's pretty sweet. A lot of people come out to watch this.
I mean, we're going pretty big and pretty far, and I don't know, I enjoy it. I love going out there and just hitting big jumps and everything, so that's what gets my blood rushing, I guess, and that's my adrenaline, and I love just flying through the air on my snowmobile. I mean, if I could do it every day for the rest of my life, I would.
And away they go, down into turn number 1 and 2. Todd, your race leader, down the back straightaway, up onto the tabletop, trying to put some distance on the field, but it's not going to happen. Right behind comes the sled. The 831, I think it's Leighton. Running into number 2 spot right now, trying to hang with Todd. Todd across the rhythm section onto the front straightaway will take him across for lap number 1. Todd that time didn't quite find the distance he was looking for. He really had to fight to get it down across that bottom section or that back section. Out through the corner, one off the racetrack. Unfortunately, his sled, something broken for one of the riders down at turn number 3 and 4, but Todd is running and gunning. Here comes the hot pursuit out of Leighton.
Corn Todd, your leader, but Trevor Leighton, he's on the gas now through that rhythm and over the triple on the back straight, guys.
One of the things I'm watching there out of Leighton, watch him keeping the sled low to the ground. That's what you're looking for. You're looking for speed and distance, not so much the height. Right now, watch him, Todd, down the back straightaway. Leighton still in hot pursuit. Maybe not be able to run him down. I thought for sure Leighton was coming there earlier on, but he's gone back to that nose-up attitude, catching a lot of air over those jumps, and perhaps slowing him down quite a bit, too.
There's the white flag out. 1 lap around the last circuit. 1 lap to go as looks like maybe the leaders may be getting into traffic, and that will play a role possibly coming in the north end of the course.
A little bit of lap traffic may be a factor just ahead of Todd. Todd keeping it low to the ground. This is it for all the marbles right here coming out turn number 3 and 4. Lap traffic will be a factor for Todd. He'll have to deal with it. He'll work to the inside, hopefully not get connected there. They almost come together out turn number 4. That could have been a mishap of epic proportions. But lo and behold, Todd's going to pick up the win. Fist pump for the crowd. Called a done deal. The Pro Open Amsoil World Championship Snowcross category is going to belong to Todd.
Had a great battle, and but you held on for the win. That's got to be a big one here, Eagle River Derby, hey?
Yeah, this is an amazing opportunity for me. I feel so blessed to get this win and be considered a world champion here at Eagle River. So this weekend's just been awesome for me with wins all weekend. So I'm just so ecstatic right now.
All right, let's hear it for your winner, Corn Todd.
The 51st Annual Amsoil Eagle River Derby is brought to you by Divas Snow Gear, by Case, and by Chevrolet. Snowmobiling's a celebrated tradition here in Eagle River, and that can be seen at the World Snowmobile headquarters or here at the Amsoil Eagle River Derby track.
We started with snowcross, and that was fun, but the speed in the ice and just the raw power of ice oval track racing is what hooked us to it. Yeah.
We run about 96, 97 miles an hour. The motor's a 440cc Wall Brothers chassis.
I'm a firm believer that the fastest sled doesn't always win. Handling is, you want your sled to turn in them corners.
It's the most grueling race of the year for us.
Usually we run sprint races, which is green to checker, no stops, but
For the World Championship, we end up doing 10 laps, then we'll go to an intermission for 10 minutes. At the end of the first 10 laps, we're gonna have a mandatory pit stop.
That gives guys time to tune and adjust things, and then it's another 20 laps all out. And it's an intense race. The track gets really rough here.
Yeah, you definitely gotta set the sled up totally different than any other track. There's a lot of banking here, so the camber adjustments are changing. The track, the studding pattern, everything changes when you come to this track just because of the angle in the corners. I won it last year, so I'm the defending champion, and then also we won the TLR Cup, which is the point series that we follow. So we had a very successful year last year, but it's a new season and some new sleds, but we've qualified first for this year, and we look forward to hopefully getting a good start and racing in a safe race.
I mean, we have a lot of races in our area that are, you know, some big ones, and I've actually won in Valcourt too, and that was one of my, I've always said I wanted to win in 3 places, my hometown, Valcourt, and Eagle River, and it's the World Championship.
All right, getting ready to go. The flagger points them out. Here we go.
Hole shot coming on the inside that time. Chartier, first one down into 1 and 2. He's running and gunning. He pulls about 2 sled legs over Schultz, who runs into number 2 spot. Potter currently third. A break battle coming behind is that conglomeration of chaos out of turn number 4.
Yep, that's Potter in third place, but Schultz gaining on Chartier just a little bit going into 1. Boy, both of those sleds have been perfect all week. Look at the speed, though, down the backstretch of Schultz. Closing the gap a little bit.
3 wide for the number 3 spot. Look out, Van Stridonk down on the inside. Moyle, the meat and the sandwich to the outside comes Potter. Van Stridonk sneaks his way through. He's got the number 3 spot. Moyle's not done yet. He's digging deep. He's on the charge.
Moyle moving in, and Moyle slides out a little bit. Van Stridonk there trying to dig in a little bit better, and Potter right there in 5th.
Coming around down into turn number 3 and 4 yet again.
Schultz in 2nd, and Moyle now moves into 3rd. Something happened to Stridonk. He's back to 4th.
Moyle's been quick. Van Stridonk definitely off the pace. He's dropped down the inside. Everybody's passing him by. There goes the 616 sled on Nisker, and he's around. Here comes Potter around, and Van Stridonk is looking at the sled. He's saying, come on, get me to the 10-lap point.
Back up front, going into turn 1, it's Chartier spreading his lead out, now to about 20 lengths, and Schultz settles in for 2nd, probably looking for the break.
Talking with Malcolm Chartier up here in the tower yesterday, he said right about now he'd be telling himself to breathe. That's exactly what he's doing. Taking nice deep breaths, trying to stay focused on top of the sled, make it happen. Here comes Potter on the attack. He gets around the outside of Niskern onto 616.
Yeah, great battle for 4th and 5th. Niskern and Potter going at it, and Niskern has some trouble coming out of that turn.
Now the man on the move is number 16, Joey Fiersted's moving up, challenging Potter down the backstretch, going into 3 for that 4th position.
One of the questions for you, Scott, is it possible the sled's out here, do you keep a little bit of fuel out of it to lighten the sled up here for this first 10 laps and then put fuel in again? Is that what we're seeing out there? The checkered flag's out.
After 10 laps, a mandatory stop is required as the teams quickly prep their sleds for the final 20 laps.
Drivers, start your engines and proceed to turn 4.
Here we go, restart. 20 laps to go on the Amsoil World Championship. Good one. Here comes Potter to the outside of Moyle. Down into turn number 1 and 2 they go. Potter working top side of the racetrack, and that's once that number 3 spot. He's got Moyle, picked him off on a restart, and the highly visible Potter is hustling down into turn number 3.
Potter's been hot out there all day today, that fluorescent yellow sled. Moyle and Potter into turn 1 side by side.
Yeah, right now I'd say that the 66 of Gary Moyle's the man in the mood as he moves past Potter down the backstretch, lightning speed, goes into turn 3 really deep, catching the leaders. That's Gary Moyle.
Yeah, Moyle had a rough time getting it going there, but once he got going fast as the number 38 sled sitting in the number 2 spot. That's Matt Schultz. Schultz hustle along, skid sideways. Whoa, loses some distance to Chartier up front. Chartier right now on rails on the number 33.
Potter's in 4th, Fiersted in 5th, Dustin Wall in 6th, and Matt Schultz in 7th. That's a surprise.
Keeping up with Van Stridonk on the back of the field right now. He's picked off 2 racers. He's on his way towards the front, but he needs to catch a break. He needs a red flag to stack him up again. Took him a little bit too long to get around those 2. Up front, Chartier on to number 33. He's down into turn number 1 and 2. It is 1, 2, and 3 on the field. Potter still run that high line. Back into number 4 position. Side-by-side battle for 5th. Right now you got to give the nod to the, well, I was going to say the number 74, but it looks like the number 8 sled of McDonald's going to be able to hold him off. McDonald, one of those racers coming in from a last chance qualifier. And look at this run down the back straightaway into turn number 3. He wants that number 5 spot in a bad way.
Yeah, McDonald's got plenty of straightaway speed, but he keeps spinning out right in the middle of the corner and both ends of the circuit.
Your race leader out of turn number 4 across the stripe. Here he comes, Chartier. So far has been the race leader this entire time. He's down into 1 and 2. Top 3 sleds breaking away from Potter running 4th. And 5th right now still belongs to Travis McDonald on to number 8. This time coming out of turn number 4 is unfortunately trouble on the back straightaway for the number 66 Amsoil. Well, McDonald's been fast, there's no doubt about it, as he hustles his way around this racetrack, but unfortunately not fast enough to run down Malcolm Chartier. Chartier getting ready to work into lap traffic on this final lap. The white flag is out. Chartier down into turn number 1. He'll move to the inside, and wow, 2 in a row it looks like, barring any unforeseen circumstances here in turn number 3 and 4.
Schultz is all alone in second on the back straight going into 3 and 4. Go ahead.
Here it is, your 2-time world champion, Malcolm Chartier. You now become only the 9th man ever in the 51 history to win back-to-back world championships. How's it feel, man?
Yeah, it feels great to bring this Factory Woody sled up here on the podium. I can't thank my team enough, my family. You know, this is a lot of hard work that people don't see, and it's paying off.